I personally believe that maybe we need to think about the lighting schemes that deal with oversized loads. New ideas. What I was saying to the group earlier is, let's think out of the box. We keep putting Band-Aids on things that 50 years ago somebody said we need to have red flags. So now we're trying to decide what size, where they'll go, and what color.
Nobody can hear you, please.
Do we really need flags? What about the lighting requirements? Some states you get one little blinky light that you can buy at Walmart and they get by with that. Other states, they want the 48-inch. Where's the science in it is what I'm saying. Let's just back off and say, does this make sense? Overhead signs or bumper signs, what makes sense from a safety point of view? And the other thing that I want to say is our metric should be safety. What's the safest thing? And my colleagues that are here in the driving industry, the truck industry, I fully understand. I'm a businessman. I understand profit and loss and cost and that kind of thing. But our metric should be safety. How do we measure success? Is what we're doing safer tomorrow than what it is today?
Well, I think, if I may, Elton, what we're trying to do is ask the states. They're very good. I know, for example, Debbie in the Master region, they're very good at putting together a matrix. And I think what we need to do is look at our talking points, look at their rules and regulations, and see what states are below what we would consider, a safety standard. And so then those states know, like on some of the harmonization efforts, states, like, for example, Wisconsin gives you a killer amount of weight, but some of the other states, like Iowa, are like, we're not going to go that high. So we're not asking them to come down to the standard. We're just saying, if you're below the standard, we're asking you to come up to it, and if it helps with consistency. Some of those things aren't, bringing the water level up. Some of them are, in fact, straight across the board. 48-inch lights seen from 500 to 1,000 feet. And some of these interrelate with the harmonization efforts that we've been working on with SCNRA and AASHTO for the past 3 years. We've been working on those. And as I told them before, as a former state official, things take time. Some states like Minnesota can write an internal policy. Some other states have to vet it, through a long process. But I think one of the things we could ask the states to do, or the region directors, is go back to the regions and ask if they're willing to create a matrix of their rules and regulations as it relates to our recommendations or our issues, see where they're at, so that so the states know if they need to take action, or if their regulations as they are today are sufficient. Some of the states unlike the SCNRA initiative with harmonization, some of the states we may ask them to come down. Florida says 36-inch cones, everybody else is kind of around 18. So that one we may say, well, we don't want 36, we want 18. I think another thing that we talked about earlier today is there's a lot of discussion on harmonization about the size, what the sign says, where it's located. One idea we just kind of tossed out there, but our friends are also here from Canada said that it doesn't apply to all of their provinces, and I know there's 13, because I grew up in Detroit. The only place that's south of the U.S. is Windsor, Ontario. I know the trivia, and I know that hockey is not the #1 sport. I know it's curling, but anyway, and that our beer just isn't adequate. Okay, I'll stop. But I think what we can do is kind of develop those matrices so that we kind of see where it's at. And then we, as an association, like how SCNRA goes into those states and helps out with the lobbying effort, we can go into those states and help, the state officials, because the states are barred from lobbying their own legislatures typically. We can work together hand in hand and identify those states where we kind of need to bring up the standard. So I think if we ask anything of the region representatives today, is if they would kindly go back to their groups and ask that a matrices be created based on the issues that we've pointed out here, and kind of see what the state of play is right now from a policy arena.